oh my gosh, all the crazy things that happen in my body. That explains all of it. Hello, friends. I've been trying to make videos on my chronic illnesses ever since I started this channel. I'm going to start with EDS. That stands for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It is a connective tissue disorder. I was born with it. It is genetic. We believe that it is on my mother's side. But I'm the first one to be accurately diagnosed. I went to a geneticist last spring, just 2 weeks 2 weeks after they started a new hypermobility spectrum. Doctors from all over the world got together and made a spectrum and made criteria for each part of the spectrum. So, if I had gone to her 2 weeks before, I would have been diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS. However, since the new guidelines had started, my official diagnosis is Generalized Hypermobility Spectrum Disorder. It basically means that I have multiple joints that dislocate more than one time. If I had a problem in my aorta, or if my wingspan was longer than an average person, I would have been bumped up to full-blown EDS. Having generalized hypermobility spectrum disorder is as serious as full-blown EDS. Some people with generalized hypermobility spectrum disorder experience more problems. Everybody's body is different. So I was born with it. When I was a baby, I cried a lot. That's my Sophie barking. My parents would have to rock me. They would rock me, I would fall asleep, they would lay me down, I would cry, they would rock me, I would fall asleep, they would try to lay me down, and I would cry. And looking back on it, knowing what we know now, we truly believe that I was just in so much pain. And I'm glad that I don't remember that. When I started walking, my feet would overlap. So my mom took me to the doctor, and back then they made kids wear braces on their legs to correct it. Now they generally don't. They let it correct on its own. But I had some kind of a problem with the regular braces that they use, so they had to use a different kind. It was like a belt, and it had elastic that would wrap around my leg and connect to the shoes. And I don't remember them. I have pictures with them on, but I was just so young that I don't remember. When I think I was in second grade, my mom took me to another doctor because there was something wrong with my knees. And they did x-rays and wiggled them around, and they said that normally there's like a curved part that holds your kneecap in place, and I don't have that. It is straight across, so my kneecaps dislocate. The spring of fourth grade, my dad had gone fishing overnight, and he got home, and I was rolling up his sleeping bag. I was on the floor on my knees rolling up the sleeping bag, and my right knee dislocated while it was bent. I had never had one dislocate when it was bent. They called an ambulance. It was my first ambulance ride. It stayed dislocated until they laid the x-ray film thing on it. All of the muscles and ligaments and tendons were torn and messed up. You could touch the tip of my toe and it would send pain bolting up my entire leg. Then I had my first knee surgery. The day that school got out, when I was in fourth grade, my mom picked me up. We had lunch. We went to the library and checked out some books. We went to the hospital and got admitted, and the next day I had my first knee surgery. I'm not a good patient in the hospital. I don't think I think I still am not a very good patient in the hospital. But as a child, I was pretty mean and hateful to the people who loved me the most. At school, you would never know it. But I did not handle this surgery well. They ended up discharging me early because they couldn't handle me, and I was upsetting. In sixth grade, I was laying on the floor. I don't know why I keep getting on the floor. I was laying on the floor. The phone rang. I had to go to the phone. And my left knee dislocated while it was bent. But I got it in fairly quickly. And it didn't do much damage. It did hurt. But not to the extent of my right knee. So they did an exploratory surgery. Didn't see anything that needed to be repaired. Kept going to physical therapy. They ended up in just a couple weeks, I think, before seventh grade started. They did surgery. On both knees, the surgery was like moving muscles and making it a bed, sort of, that would keep it in place. So it wasn't like huge major stuff. I got to high school. I wanted to do marching band so much. Music has been a very huge part in my life. They wouldn't let me do marching band. I couldn't march in marching band. They would not let me. I played in the pit, the stationary percussion instruments. And I did get pretty good at that. I would have little dislocations here and there. I developed tendonitis in here um, from the crutches, and now I'm thinking that it wasn't just tendonitis because my thumb joints are really, really weird. Through high school, we did a lot of major band trips. That on those trips, I had a lot of problems with my knees. They were long, hard trips, sleeping on gym floors at times, a lot of riding on buses, a lot of pain. So in college, I just still having some problems, nothing really big. And then my left knee started dislocating every step. Every step I would take, it would go bonk, bonk, bonk. I went to the doctor. He sent me to physical therapy. I did physical therapy and it wasn't helping. And I ended up needing a patella realignment. That was very, very painful. At the time, I told them, I don't want to know what you're going to do, but now I wish I did. I can feel like touching it. That things are in different places, but I don't know exactly what they did. It helped my knees so much until in the last 10 years or so. It's been dislocating again, but I'm not gonna have another surgery. They will not do. They will not do knee replacements, and I don't blame them, and I don't want them. So other ways that EDS has affected my life. I've had chiropractic care since I was, I think, about 17 or 18. I have a lot of issues in my shoulders, my shoulder blades, my neck, my lower back, and hips. And I've had chiropractic care pretty much the whole time since then. And I wish that I knew back then what I know now. Some of the chiropractors that I saw were doing a lot more damage to my neck. And now I have degenerative joint disorder. And I'm seeing a neurosurgeon. At some point, I will probably have to have some of it fused, if not all of it. The problems in my neck affect my whole body, literally. And I'm not going to get into all of the details because it's like TMI. You don't want to know all of it. And another major thing is my jaw. All of my life, if I went to eat like a big burger and had to open my mouth wide, if I would be singing or at the dentist to open up my mouth as wide as it needed to go, my jaw would go ka-clunk. I thought everybody's did. Imagine a snake. You know how they just sort of like, that's what my jaw did. And I didn't know that it wasn't what everybody else's did until maybe 10 years ago. My jaw locked open. When it released, finally, it was wobbly. I had to go to a specialist for a year. I saw a specialist for a year. Traveled 2.5 hours to see this specialist. And he finally got to a point where he said he couldn't help me anymore. There was nothing else he could do. And this was before we knew about the connective tissue disorder. So now I cannot open my mouth very wide. I know I have to get my coronoid processes removed because this one is like way too long. Way too long. My orthodontist said that it was the longest he's ever seen. And so I do need to get those removed. And I'm waiting on results from imaging to see if my discs have slid off. And if they have slid off and are still there to be reconnected, then I'll have to go probably to Florida because there are only 2 doctors that can help me. The whites of my eyes have always been blue. And I just happened to see, I don't know, Dr. Phil or something like that on TV, and they said, if the whites of your eyes are any color except for white, then it is a sign of a problem in your body. And so I looked it up, and it was just like a light bulb moment that, oh my gosh, all the crazy things that happen in my body, that explains all of it. That's it for my connective tissue disorder. From one broken person to another, I'm sending you my love.